The front page of the Telegraph is saying that we've replaced the king with Paddington Bear.
Oh yes.
No, I don't. I think I might have misunderstood that story. Johnson and Truss in planning rebellion, and I am going to be honest with you. I haven't read too much about that because we were going to talk more about this story. Net migration surges to record high. So, do you want to talk about that now or a bit later?
Mate, you're leading. You come on, go for it.
Well, I mean,
we've got notes as well. You bought a book. You've written notes. This is great. Go for it.
You told me to come in early and try and write something.
Do it.
And this is all I came up with.
Okay. So, what happened to the patriarchy?
Well, they're still around, aren't they? Net migration is the highest it's been since the Second World War, apparently, and the ONS point out that the bulk of the increase was driven by students arriving to study and people fleeing the war in Ukraine. So I guess no one's going to have a beef with that. I think if we want to cap the amount of people we have in the UK, though, it might be reasonable to think about swapping some of our terrible people with some new, better people. You know?
So what would be our terrible people?
Well, I'm going to give you some examples. You know, you get caught with your feet on the seat in the train, you're gone. You know, bring in a better person. You know, you drive your Range Rover into a yellow box junction, you're out. Swap with a better person.
What if you join ISIS? Can we get rid of you then, or have we got to accept you?
Well,
that's going to be in part 2.
We'll come back to that. I tell you what, if you are a man with a top knot, gone.
Yes.
Swap with a better person.
What about dyeing your hair in middle age?
I wouldn't do it. I certainly wouldn't do it. But I mean, I bet you'd love the opportunity, wouldn't you?
Oh, mate. Ow! Ow! Get him out of here. Don't know what you're talking about.
Lucky I'm in the middle.
You know what? I'm going to sit up here a little bit higher, and then that way the camera... Now I don't look bald. That's the way to do it. I've got lots of hair. This is interesting. Part of the reason why we have so much net migration is because some people are arguing that there's less people leaving the UK.
No, there's still a lot of people leaving the UK.
But not as many.
560 million people left the UK. So we've had 1.1 million people arrive in the UK, which I think is also a record high. And obviously, a lot of it is legitimate asylum seekers, people from Ukraine, who, it's women and children, and a lot of them will go home once Ukraine's liberated. But then, we've got other people gaming the system, gaming the asylum system, or gaming the student visa system to come over here and then work and stay, which, obviously is good there's benefits for the economy, but then it contributes to problems like, if the GPs are shutting at 5 p.m, how are we going to get GP appointments for everybody? There's going to be a housing crisis. Unless everybody brings a semi-detached house with them, there's going to be a housing crisis. So,
well, they're mostly building the houses as well.
I don't think they are.
Some of those Albanians are.
We're not building. House building has come way down since we've had mass immigration.
Well, that's because.
So, and also, I think. People always say, it's become this thing that's decried as racist to say, well, maybe we should have some sensible limits on immigration, because I think having such a huge proportion of the population coming in a year, and this is happening year after year, that's changing.
Well, it's not, because these figures are so high because obviously lockdown finished. So that's partly the reason why things have gone up so much. There's a bit of a backlog.
No, but I'm talking over the last 2 decades since we became sort of neoliberal globalists.
But we are out of the EU now, so it isn't like this.
Exactly,
we have control of our borders.
So much.
Right?
No, we don't. It's almost reduced the control of our borders, because France has got no incentive now that we're out of the EU to actually sort of work with us in limiting migration.
I knew you'd come round. I knew we should have stayed in the EU.
But if you look at the criticism that's been levelled at Qatar, people are saying, well, look, this is a homophobic culture, they're sexist, they're racist, and all the rest of it. And then people are like, but we should open the borders and have unlimited numbers of men who have those beliefs. It's like, I don't get that. It doesn't square off in my mind. Surely if these, if some of these cultural norms are unpleasant in Qatar, they'd be unpleasant here.